Well, it is National Child Protection Week, and we're commemorating in South Africa annually to raise awareness of the rights of children as articulated in the Children's Act of 2005.
During the CPW 2016, the department will focus on raising awareness on cyberbullying and sexting. Cyberbullying includes acts involving bullying and harassment through the use of electronic devices or technology. Sexting involves the sending of nude or semi-nude photos or videos and or sexually suggestive messages via mobile phone texting or instant messaging. Cyberbullying is perpetrated through the following methods.
Well, we have the pleasure of welcoming in studio this morning from the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development, the Director of Legal Services in Gauteng's Regional Office, Mr. Chiliditse Ramatikiti. Very good morning to you. I guess, how deep does this problem run in South Africa, considering the access to cell phones, to tablets? Is it a real problem?
It is a real problem indeed. If you can look at the number of children that are having cell phones, sophisticated cell phones, smartphones, the amount is very high. So to that extent, even when we are engaging with children at schools now, when we check, almost 98% of children have smartphones.
Wow.
Yeah, so that is how high the problem is. So to that extent, we need to be very vigilant in engaging and also trying to conscientize. I think the greatest thing that we've picked up when we were busy in this week, which is Child Protection Week, we've picked up a number of children when we engage with them. Because what we do, we have dialogues with them, and you would pick up that they're not even aware of the consequences of the actions that they take on their phones, what impact it has. It affects other children to a great extent, and to a certain extent people get withdrawn, and some of the children, in worst case scenarios, even commit suicide out of actions and or videos that would have been shared if they are also featured on those videos. So to that extent, that is the biggest issue that we are trying to promote during this period, to say, please, parents, be aware, how best do we control what goes in our children's cell phones. So we need to be vigilant. It's for whole society to stand up and say, let's monitor these tools that we give to our children.
Definitely. Mr. Ramatikiti, you've now spoken on the fact that the number of young children with cell phones or access to the internet is increasing. And what's shocking is that the age of these children is getting younger and younger by the day. Just talk us through the stats, and how old are these children involved in sexting and cyberbullying? How old are these kids?
It starts normally at your higher primary children, your grade 4, 5, going upwards, all the way to grade 12. So you can imagine, nowadays kids don't even need a manual to go through an iPad. You can give that iPad to a 3-year-old, they will be able to navigate through. So to that extent, technology has become easy to navigate through, but still the challenge is that we need to be vigilant as parents to say, let's restrict the usage. Maybe when you go to sleep, you must ensure that you take those phones. They must not sleep with them. There must always be monitoring. So to a certain extent, I know there are certain software where you can even monitor which sites are being visited. You can even do restrictions. The nice thing is that with the education, basic education, the tablets that have been issued are restricted not to go to certain sites and to do certain things. So that is good, that it blocks those kind of websites and or social media spaces where it would not be desirable for them to go to.
You've mentioned the word parents twice. I'm a parent. It's difficult. It's not easy. You've got that dynamic of, well, this is my cell phone. I don't want you to look at what's on my cell phone. And yet, as a parent, you don't want to be too nosy because you want to see what's happening on that. Explain the dynamic, and also you mentioned consequences to these children. I mean, there are legal ramifications for you sending certain messages to certain people. That's just the the life we live right now.
Yeah.
What are the legal ramifications?
Looking at the legal ramifications, there are two pieces of legislation that would gather. Let's start by cyber bullying. We've got the Protection from Harassment Act, where if a person is harassed, he or she can approach a court to go and seek a protection order to say, I've been harassed and this is what is happening. So that matter would be heard through that specific piece of legislation. Now, coming to sexting, this is now more of a serious nature, where we have a Sexual Offences Amendment Act that deals specifically with the sharing of videos, nude videos, as you've indicated in your insert, that you would find that the sharing of videos where nude photos or semi-nude or suggestive photos are being shared, of videos. So to that extent, those are the things that we need to conscientize our children to say these are the ramifications of the actions when you share this kind of videos and or footage. So to that extent, when we engage with children, that is the biggest challenge that we've picked up, that they are not even aware that sharing is a crime. So to that extent, and also looking at the implications. So we've been trying to engage with them. We have been having dialogues with children at schools to say, how best do you think this should be kept? And they themselves said, look, we need to refrain. So, but it's just that issue to say, how best going forward do we keep the message, you know, to say refrain and do not share. Because it end up, secondary victimization is one of the outcomes that happens, that you end up without knowing that you are hurting another person, even though you were not the cause of those sharing of footage, but the sharing, just to spread it along, is causing more harm than anything.
Definitely. Let's expand a little bit further on the issue of cyberbullying. Bullying in itself is a major issue and a major challenge facing South Africa's young people. As a parent, what are some of these signs and warning signs that you should be looking out for? Because many times young people are scared to come out and say, listen, I'm being bullied, or I'm being bullied at school, I'm being bullied online. What are some warning signs that parents should look out for, and how should they attack the situation?
You should, as a parent, maybe the main thing that you should check at home is the change of behavior. If people now, if kids now start to be withdrawn and also start to, you might find it affects them to a great extent. You might find someone not even eating properly, and or they always lock themselves in their room, and you know, they also don't want to go out and play with other kids if they were playing. So to that extent, you need to gauge to see pattern. And you know, one thing that I will always encourage is to have that conversation with children to say, look, are you fine? What happened at school today? So we know that we are busy. We get home, it's late, and we're still very busy and on our devices. You will see that patterns have changed nowadays. We normally do not have those normal conversations like we used to do. We are busy on our cell phones, iPads, laptops. And so to that extent, I think you need to make time as a parent on a daily basis just to check on the child, to say, are you fine? Is everything okay? And also have engagements with teachers at school to say, monitor, to say, is he doing okay? What are the issues? So that you can keep really tabs on your child and ensure that everything is okay. Because sometimes if you don't pick up on those trends, by the time you wake up, it might be very late. Because like I've indicated, the worst case scenarios, we have children who have committed suicide because of this kind of issues.
You mentioned the word teachers for the first time. I find that interesting because often it's the teachers that raise your children. They spend a lot of time with them. It's in that they can see the dynamics between the children in the classroom situation, and they play an important role in this process as well.
Yeah, they do play a very important role in monitoring, and also legislatively they have also a responsibility to report to authorities, either to social development or to the police, if they pick up on some of the trends that we're talking about, so that issues can be dealt with at that angle. If there are issues, they have an obligation to bring them to the attention of the parents and other authorities to ensure that, like you've indicated, kids are spending quite a lot of time at school, so the teachers are the guardians that are that foresee whatever that happens at school. Nowadays, the same technology also comes to assistance in that you would find now, I know when my kids go to school, there is a WhatsApp chat between parents and teachers. It's a group chat where we share to say, look, this child is still at school. It hasn't been, he or she has not been fetched. So to that extent, you are able to keep tabs of what is happening at school. So which is, you know, the flip side of the technology.
Also good things,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's fascinating. It really is fascinating this day and age. You know, with social media as well, Facebook, all the sort of dating websites as well that are out there. It's a genuine concern for the youth. That's where we've got to leave it. We appreciate your time. Chilitse Ramatikiti is the Director of Legal Services at the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development. The government doing a lot of work to try and quell cybercrime.
Yeah.
It certainly is. We don't understand how difficult it is for some youngsters out there.
Yeah, and it's a very important conversation to have. Like Mr. Ramatikiti said, so many young people have, you know, committed suicide and hurt themselves because of situations that they've gotten themselves into. So parents, a big responsibility there for parents to monitor your children and make sure you know what is happening in your child's life. We are commemorating Child Protection Week, and Youth Month is the month of June. We're going to be having these type of discussions throughout the month right here on VUCA Africa. But it's just gone about 17 minutes past 7. Let's recap your headlines.